Bhubaneswar as a capital city for Odisha was never mentioned till probably end of Second World War. We are so bad foodies or so good foodies. See, you see a Janpad, there are four chowks which are prominent chowks which are named after food. Those days there was not a single Odia restaurant anywhere in this city. What makes me happy today is Bhubaneswar has at least 30-35 Odia restaurants, so which is a matter of pride for all Odias. Bhubaneswar has been a old city, Bhubaneswar has been a new city. I know the focus is on food, but still I will touch upon few fundamental things that brought up Bhubaneswar. How Bhubaneswar came up. Many of you in this room probably know about it, but when the state was formed in 1936, they wanted a capital. Bhubaneswar as a capital city for Odisha was never mentioned till probably end of Second World War. So that was the time, that was probably 1944-45, when there was a new governor appointed in Odisha called Governor Lewis. In fact, the road that you see from Baniam, the Kalpana Chowk towards Puri is named after him, Lewis Road. Now this gentleman Lewis had an advisor called Gokhale. Now for some reason Gokhale was convinced that Bhubaneswar is the best place. He was a smart mover. What he did was, he knew that when the elections are being held next year, there is a strong possibility that Hare Krishna Mahatab will be the leader of the state, the chief minister or the premier, the prime minister, whatever you call him. But that time Hare Krishna Mahatab was in Pune jail. So this Gokhale fellow, who was from Maharashtra, went to Pune jail and convinced Hare Krishna Mahatab that we should agree on Bhubaneswar as the new capital. So, and in 1946, as things would have, Mahatab became the elections were held, and pre-independent election, Mahatab became the chief minister, and he was able to convince the take the assembly with him and make Bhubaneswar the capital. That is when Bhubaneswar was decided as the capital. Now comes the planning. In our Indian conditions then, there was not a planned city ever, anywhere. General perception is 80% of people think that Chandigarh and Bhubaneswar was planned together by the same architect, and all those things are bullshit. Bhubaneswar was planned much before Chandigarh. Foundation stone for Chandigarh was probably in 1952 or 1953, when Bhubaneswar foundation stone was laid in 1948. And we didn't have an architect. Then V.C. Mehta was the person whom they brought from Nagpur. He was a town planner. So this V.C. Mehta fellow, he looked at the terrain and looked at the site, and he was very convinced that yes, this is the most ideal place for a futuristic capital, where you have the railway line in one side and the highway and the proposed highway on the other side. So in between you can develop the city. So he asked for certain terrain details which ultimately nobody gave, because half of the bureaucracy never wanted Bhubaneswar to be the capital. Priorities were different. No, we were a small, one of the weakest and poorest state. So we really didn't have the money to spend on a new capital. So this dilly-dally thing going on for probably 1 year or so. Then one fine morning, Mehtab as the chief minister, he was then called the premier, the prime minister, he said, no, we have to do something about it. Somebody came and told him there is a planner out sitting in Mysore. You can reach out to him. So this gentleman was Otto Koensberger. Otto came, Otto was very convinced about this decision, and Otto started planning the design. He did the layout and everything. That is when Otto himself was moved out of Mysore to Delhi. He was sending drawings, and nobody was looking at the drawings, or whoever was looking at the drawings were not very convinced with the drawings. They wanted their own ways, they wanted their own concept, and there were a lot of contradictions. Let's not get into that, that'll take whole evening. Then there was this gentleman who was the chief architect of Odisha, who was appointed in 1945-1946, called Julius Vaj. Julius Vaj is actually the man who has overseen the growth of Bhubaneswar. All that construction that you see, right from Secretariat to Governor House, Assembly, even Ravindra Mandap, AG Office, all those old constructions, the museum building, everything has been done by Julius Vaj. And Julius Vaj had again his own likes and dislikes, his priorities, when he could, if you look at the architecture which I have mentioned in my book, there are two parallel buildings, there are two buildings standing next to each other, completely separate in infrastructure, completely separate designing, planning, designing, everything is different. I'll give you the example. Example is that now, of course, it is not RAID. The RAID building that is standing between the AG office and the Secretariat, which was originally the RAID Secretariat. Now, this Secretariat has an architecture which has certain amount of our ethnic touch in it. The temples, effects of temples on that architecture. But you see next to that is the Secretariat, the Lok Sabha Bhavan as you call now, and the Assembly Hall, which is completely different architecture. So that is how the city progressed, and we never gave priority to planning. I'll give you one other example. The Otto's design had self-contained units. Each unit would have different kinds of houses, different sizes of houses, and also it will have a public health setup, it will have a market, it will have a school. Everything was planned, self-contained units, and where people who did not have to travel much, they will walk it down. You want to go to the market, you walk it down. You want to go to the school, you walk it down. You don't need a conveyance for that. That was his planning. So from 1960 onwards, 62 onwards, we started planning for a greater Bhubaneswar. When we talk of greater Bhubaneswar, we think beyond the highway. Because till Vidyut Marg is something that is taken care by the original plan. Beyond 1960 was when construction started, construction took momentum in the sense. If you remember, those days there was a big thing, AICC was a big thing. AICC was called All India Congress Committee session, which was a big thing for any city. So AICC, Deboo Patnaik being a very party functionary in Congress and very close to Pandit Nehru, he said that AICC once you have to do it in this new town. So it was decided in 64 we'll have the AICC conference here. And believe me, in 1.5 years' time, the whole Unit 8 that you see has been built. That has been built by direct supervision of Deboo Patnaik to accommodate all the participants of Congress committee members. And it was a big show. I have got some pictures where you can see 5 prime ministers lined up. Jawaharlal Nehru, Gulzarilal Nanda, Indira Gandhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri, everybody standing in a queue, even Morachi Desai. And incidentally, there is a place in Bhubaneswar called Nehru Mandap. There is a place called Nehru Mandap, which is very much there in the heart of the city, covered all around is slums, but center is the stage where we had the AICC. It is still there, that is called Nehru Mandap. It has a flag post which still says Nehru Khunti. And incidentally, Mrs. Gandhi had also a very interesting experience in the same Indira Gandhi Park way back in 1967 when a stone was pelted on her and her nose was, and the whole family, Nehru, Mrs. Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi, all three of them addressed their last public meeting in Bhubaneswar. Then we come to the 80s. When 80s Mr. Deboo Patnaik came to power, he had a very enthusiastic works minister in the name of Vasant Biswal, who between both of them, they took certain decisions for Bhubaneswar infrastructure, which is commendable. There has been slums, there has been struggles relating to power, relating to water, relating to sewerage. So this, the structure was probably not planned for a population which is today, Greater Bhubaneswar has 18 lakh population. Bhubaneswar, I don't know, many of you know or not, this was way back, this was probably 8-9 years back when President MLA of Central, Mr. Anand Jena, who was the mayor then, so he told me that, bhai, our population to our gadi sankhya badi gala. The registration of vehicles in Bhubaneswar went up more, became more than the recorded population of Bhubaneswar 8-9 years back. So at this stage it will be 18-9. Now I will touch upon few interesting anecdotes about certain personalities in the food industry and in the generally the non-ODIA's contribution in the city of Bhubaneswar. But coming back to these people, we talk of Master Canteen. Master Canteen as a destination belongs to the Hans family. Hans family, one brother came as a supervisor to work with the contractor for the secretariat. Now they are all refugees from Pakistan and settled in Bulandshahr. So he saw the opportunity here, he called his brothers. Say, यहाँ पे एक नया शहर बन रहा है, आ जाओ. Now there were 5, if I'm not wrong. 5 brothers. 4 brothers, they had made up their mind that the moment the construction is complete, we are going back to our Bulandshahr. There was one gentleman by the name of A.N. Tiwari. He was the land officer then. So इन लोगों को बोला कि आप एक ज़मीन ले लो, इतना ज़मीन पड़ा है, ले लो तुम लोग, कुछ करोगे. बोला हम क्या करेंगे, हम तो चले जाएंगे. बोला चले जाएंगे क्या, चले जाएंगे, फिर भी लेने में क्या हर्ज है. नहीं सर, कहाँ से पैसा लाएंगे, इसको खरीदेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. बोला यार एक प्लॉट देता हूँ चारों भाई को, डिवाइड करके डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करके ले लो. So all the 4 brothers were given one plot. Today's date, it is ABCD. Same plot ABCD divided between 4 brothers. But talking about the contribution of non-ODIAs in Bhubaneswar, one person that comes to my mind is Sardar Santokh Singh. Sardar Santokh Singh. Mr. Santokh Singh was a contractor. He was a Burma refugee. He was a contractor. And he used to do, his firm's name was Inderson Construction. And he used to do big bridges. And there were a lot of bridges being built that time because we were on a development mode. Similarly, I don't know whether you know this or not. One of the most popular chak in Bhubaneswar is the Rajmahal chak because of the Rajmahal Hotel. Now, can anybody tell me in this room what was the name of that chak before it became Rajmahal chak? This was known as Cabin Chowk. Cabin Chowk. People, old timers will remember, because rickshaw fellows will not take you to Rajmahal chak. They will take you to Cabin Chowk. And why Cabin Chowk? Now, because Rajmahal owner Raju Sahu had a cabin there, which was known as Capital Cabin. First eatery of Bhubaneswar probably, much before Master Canteen. And incidentally, Master Canteen was a canteen, like those army canteens, where you get everything. I am confident that they were selling cooking coals in Master Canteen also. Cooking coals being sold at Master Canteen, people have seen. I have not seen, but people have seen and confirmed. But it was famous for samosas. And they used to make, our kind of samosas are those cut aloo samosas, and they used to make those typical North Indian samosas. It was very mashed aloo samosas, which was very popular. But Master Canteen initially, I am told, was planned for the workers of the secretariat who didn't have a place to eat. So this was kind of their mess, which later on became Master Canteen. Now, canteen can be any canteen. If this is Cafe 16 because the plot number is 16. Now, why is that Master Canteen? There is again two stories on this. One story is the construction company whose workers were working there. It was called Master Construction. The other story is the man who was managing it was Ishwar Das. Ishwar Das, Lalchand and Ishwar Das, they are brothers, all four. So, youngest one is Ishwar Das. Ishwar Das before coming to Bhubaneswar was a tailor in Bulandshahr. And he was known as Master. So he was popularly called Master, so this became Master Canteen. But coming back to my talk on food, we Odias have this habit of, we are so bad foodies or so good foodies. See, you see a Janpad, there are four chowks which are prominent chowks which are named after food. Rupali, Rajmahal, Master Canteen. There were 2-3 very popular tea stalls in Bhubaneswar which have vanished now. One, I don't know how many of you remember, was Bauria. Bauria was next to the Hatto. A day is not complete without a cup of tea from Bauria. There was nothing special about it. It was same good old tea, but it was Bauria tea, so it was popular. This continued, Bauria I think continued till 80s, 90s. Similarly, there was a tea shop opposite Oloka, the eastern tower, the western tower of market building called Jalandhar. Jalandhar used to be the head peon with the chief secretary of Odisha, and he used to decked up with those pagdi and all those things, ceremonial dresses, then take it out, come here and make tea. And his tea, believe me, people who have lived in Bhubaneswar in the 80s and 90s or maybe 70s and 80s, I tell you, this is wonderful. I will tell you about the first khotti of Bhubaneswar. Bhubaneswar is famous for khottis. But the first reported khotti that I could make out was, there used to be a food joint called Narayan Canteen, which is beyond the Western Tower. Narayan Canteen, and it has got two canteens. It had two canteens. One is Narayan Canteen. The other one was again managed by one of these Hans brothers. उनका था एक. So उसके सामने there was a khatti. The khatti was known as 5 friends. They called themselves Five Friends Khatti. Sethere kiye thile? None of them are. I think Purnajana is still there. Purnajana, then Rabi Nanda. Rabi Nanda is Kalpana Hall fame. Khatti Nanda. Rabi Nanda, then Govind Mahanti. He lives in Unit 6. So there were 5 of them. That is supposedly the first Khatti of Bhubaneswar, which shifted later on, when it became bigger, they shifted to the Ashok Nagar, and near that UCO Bank building. That became Friends Union. Now, coming back to the restaurants, other than Rajmahal and Pushpak, we had Marwadi restaurant, which was serving vegetarian food, and behind that was South Indian. South Indian, this gentleman Raghavan. Raghavan is again one person who came from Calcutta to Bhubaneswar. Raghavan is a Malayali, was working in Bombay, came to Calcutta for opportunity. Somebody told him, go to Bhubaneswar, there are better opportunities. He came to Bhubaneswar, landed in a canteen of finance department in Secretariat, where he was wiping tables. And Raghavan started his first enterprise in that Kora Clinic Road. The road that comes from MLA Colony downwards. On that road he had his first outlet. But in the meantime, since it's a matter of interest for all of us, and we are sitting in a cafe, the first bakery of Bhubaneswar, no, Sajita is the second bakery. Kapoor Bakery, Kuku Kapoor's mother, she started the first bakery, but first commercial bakery, first commercial bakery started with Mr. Raghavan, and also ice cream preparation started with Mr. Raghavan. Milky ice cream, if you remember. There used to be another interesting restaurant which closed shop later on, and it was probably the first continental restaurant in Bhubaneswar, called Sunshine Cafe. Sunshine Cafe was in the Chaudhary Market and managed by a Guanese couple, D'Souza's. The son is still there, grandsons are here, but they have closed their outlet. Then Chinese restaurant came, Casino. There was some Chinese food being prepared by Rajman, but it was not really great.
But there was a Chinese man.
There was a Chinese man with 3 Chinese assistants, and they had all come from Calcutta. So Casino, you know, Casino was there. I have had noodles for 5 rupees in Casino, soup for 2.5 rupees in Casino. But good old days, the food was not really. Chinese was big time. There was no biryani available anywhere. But if you remember, there was another outlet which was very popular for some time, was named Gaylord.
There was Banaraswala.
Banaraswala and Blue Heaven, they belonged to the same owner. Dawat, before Dawat and in between Dawat came up Prachi. Prachi was too, high-priced and elitist for common people. So they saw there is a gap. So they decided that we should have something which is like what we have in Mayfair today, where that Nakli Dhaba and spicy South or something, super snacks and all. So they are across the road, so you just walk in. Similarly, they started as a Chinese restaurant there, which was managed by somebody called Danny, and this continued till 2000, till 2000 mostly. But what I am missing out is the gangurams and the dhabas and street food. Now let's go one by one. Ganguram. Ganguram, the first Ganguram opened in the Swasti building. That was not known before Swasti. In fact, they shifted out of that place to Ashoka Market when Swasti started construction. So that was the first Ganguram, but which was selling sweets and Sev Bundia and kachoris, those
Vegetable chop.
vegetable chop, ye dal kachori. Dal kachori with that mitha dal and samosas. And Khirsagar was new thing for Bhubaneswar. But the more popular Ganguram was the Puri Ganguram, which was at Rajmahal Square. The sale wise, and it so happened that during that time Swasti came up, so they closed this Ganguram. This Ganguram had to wait and go inside Ashoka Market. Puri Ganguram was a very successful outlet. This was Ganguram story. Then you have every Ganguram in every corner, every colony, every market, everywhere you have a Ganguram now. Talking of dhabas, there used to be one of the oldest dhabas of Bhubaneswar. No, it was Jeet Singh Dhaba, which was on the Katak Puri road. When you come out of the old station road, when you hit that main road, Katakpuri road, he was across that. And Jeet Singh was managing the dhaba, and he was also selling mutton. He would cut the mutton and sell the mutton, and Jeet Singh's mutton was one of the best in the city. And I still remember I have had going to college and having Jeet Singh dhaba, anda tadka and roti, 3 rotis and 1 anda tadka, 2 rupees. That is one dhaba. There used to be another dhaba called Darshan Singh Dhaba, which was at Rajmahal Square, which was a very popular dhaba. You do not have to go beyond, go out of Bhubaneswar, because the Darshan Singh Dhaba used to keep open till 11:30 also. And dhaba was done. And then talking about the street food, we had only bara singadas. Street food wise, another street food, one very popular street food in the market building was the chaat of Ghana. Ghana used to do pakodis and ghugni, pakodi and all those things. I'll tell you about the dahi vada fellow who came first. Dahi vada was never available in Bhubaneswar. Till there was a friend of mine who went to Cuttack, and on the way he saw this person selling dahi vada aludam on a cycle. He convinced him that tu mutate baseibi market re. Se taku market re ani baseila. Se pilana babuli. I still remember his name. Petrol pump samna re taku basaala. So taku setika loko asiki setika re jo mane pilavani thile. Se taku protection money magile, hafta magile. So this fellow used to go and stand there. Kiye to hafta magiche dekhiwa. This is
Late 70s.
no. This is mid 80s. But Bhubaneswar as an food market today is completely different. You have all kind of, I am told there is Mediterranean food now available. So we have done quite an achievement from one Rajmahal or one Pushpak to this point. Late 90s or early 2000, when there were probably 30 odd Chinese restaurants, South Indian restaurants in Bhubaneswar, and each of them was selling lunchtime thalis, which was varying from 25 to 30 rupees, and giving you 7-8 items, out of which 3 you are having, 3 you don't touch, and 3 you eat because you don't have a choice and you are hungry. So, and each of these restaurants had 50-60 on an average people eating this. So I thought that why not give the same thali at the same price, but we give them our local cuisine. That was the first thought, which it was an experiment. In fact, I have a friend out here who told me that there is this outlet available on hire. Why don't you call him up and check whether that premises is available for you? You can plan the restaurant. So we decided we'll do it. Then what would be the name? I thought something which will be exclusive Odia cuisine, people will immediately connect to Odia cuisine. That is how Dalma came to my mind. Just that somebody saw the design and said, what? The name is Dalma? I said, yes. And there's a restaurant? I said, yes. And Jamma chali boli. So that is how it went ahead. And the experiment succeeded. What makes me happy today is, those days there was not a single Odia restaurant anywhere in this city and nowhere in the state. And organized, not that there was not Odia restaurant, there were food being served by the Chadya hotels and all. But even City Bhubaneswar Road, we have a place which still serves this kind of food. But organized Odia food was not available anywhere, sir. So that experiment today, and what makes me happy today is Bhubaneswar has at least 35 Odia restaurants today, and equal number of people are visiting these restaurants, and the restaurant doing well. So which is a matter of pride for all Odias, that whenever a guest comes, we can take them to an Odia restaurant. May not be Dalma, may not be something else, but we have 30 odd restaurants to choose from. Somebody is calling it Dalma, somebody is calling it Orna, somebody is calling it Karnika, or somebody is Odisha Hotel. So there is no drive amongst Odias to take a course on Odia cuisine. But Dalma has been a very satisfying journey, and so has been the growth of Odia cuisine. Quite happy. Another satisfying journey has been, for me personally, has been, most of you have tried it, the Crown Buffet. But that was the time when you not get a food anywhere in the city after 10:45. I told my chef that, look, there is not a single outlet which can give food to anybody after 11 o'clock. Let's open this till 12 and let's have a buffet. Sir, किसी का नहीं चल रहा है, आप buffet का बात कर रहा है, इतना खाना खराब हो जाएगा. I said, look, my money going waste. Don't think about the food cost. Just do it for 6 months. आंख बंद करके करो. In between, what happened? The other, typical other hotels started having buffets also. There was no footfall, so they closed. But we didn't. We continued. We continued for 6 months. Then it was history.